Welcome to Big Money number 10. I had some issues with the YouTube website earlier this day, so I wasn't able to start up the stream when I wanted to. Oh, 2 seconds.
Ouais, je suis en train d'enregistrer.
Okay. Alright. And since I wasn't able to record, I took liberty to try and push on our space center forward, so I ended up scrapping our last ship. Well, not scrapping it, let's say putting it aside till we get the better engines to actually be able to lift it. So instead of a multi-crew Apollo style ship, we just have a lander at the top of a huge launching stage. So everything's lined up, everything's ready. All we need to do is just make sure all our staging is set. Then hopefully we'll be all good for the rest. Okay, let's do this. So, not a really complicated ship. It's got more parts than most, but should get the job done. Should allow us to move along. The problem I had with the other videos, well, the last few videos and things. One, the ships were too big, and two, didn't have the, well, they weren't really too big for the game. It's just I don't have the engines to be able to lift them up. So I gotta hold off a little bit longer on the multi-crew missions. But we're gonna be getting there soon. So there goes our solid boosters. Start tilting towards my prograde marker. Hopefully once I lock in with it, it should start giving me delta V. But we're moving much faster than the other ship. Go. Whoops, wrong key. If we go to Jeb's view, he sees the dark side of Kerbin and his fancy new lander can. Shall we get back to these notes? Reminder, close the hatch. And I'll get back to these, all the shaking doesn't help. Don't forget, surface, right, glitches, update, before flight, software glitches. Okay. So I took back manual control, just gonna aim for target marker. Get us as dead on as possible on it. And hopefully it should pull our yellow prograde marker towards it. sights. Now, if I extend the panels, it should be high enough. Radiators, I mean. We don't have extendable solar panels yet. I'm not sure, but that dot over there could be min-miss. Since we're basically aiming right at it. Yeah, so this first stage just goes on forever. There it goes. So ditched it, and now we're flying. Basically, the rest that's going to get us there to perform the mission. So what I did here was basically a poodle engine with one big fuel tank and two small externals. So the small one should help us get the rest of our Delta V, and then we should be able to ditch them and do the rest of our maneuvers with the big tank. Alright. So our maneuver is getting there. Our two side tanks are almost empty, so I'm going to ditch those. Oh, side tanks are gone. Now we're left on the big tank to do the rest. Those two little tanks are gonna fall back to turbine once they're done doing the swing. I'm gonna start throttling down because I'm getting close and I'm gonna do a maneuver. Right, let's do our maneuver. Save up on our fuel so we're not just burning in random direction trying to desperately get an orbit. We actually plan for it. Whoa. Whoops. Not warp. Add maneuver. Okay. So now I want to line up and misses orbit. Kind of hard to see with all these lines and shit. If the green lines ever become an issue, boom, they're gone with this shit. The comms net. Okay, so we got an approach. We gotta move it forward. and down. And forward. So there's our encounter. So to anticipate for our maneuver, let's bring the ship to its little cross. The maneuver cross or node or whatever you want to call it. To each their own. Alright, so we're locked in on our maneuver. Now we get to warp to next maneuver. We're not obligated to warp to it, but I think it's just gonna help for the accuracy of the actual maneuver burn. So I'm gonna start my burn. Alright, so far so good. So far so good. And I don't need to run after the maneuver node or anything at this point. Now I should be getting my, there we go, got my encounter turned purple. So now I'm guessing these are our two fuel tanks. Oh yeah, and I named this ship the XO1 because I wasn't sure if the streaming was gonna be up today or not. So I still wanted to push the Space Center along to be able to provide more interesting flights, well, more intricate flights with more steps and more stuff, let's say. So I'm just trying to science the fuck out of Minmus to get to that goal. And I do believe we have, yes. We have a contract for a flag and for surface data. We should be getting a small bonus from the surface data from Minmus due to the contract. There we see our satellite. I didn't put no comms on the ship. Well, I got no remote controls or nothing. It's entirely Jeb. Okay, our stage is still more than half full. Just this tank here. And then we get down to the landing stage, which is here. And I have 2 extra fuel tanks for this landing stage. And I have our CS on this one, so I'm pretty sure if ever we run out of fuel in the last stage, we can pretty much fly the ship entirely on our CS, but we don't have a bunch of our CS. Our monoprop is here, and we have 495 units of it. So Yeah. But the ship ain't that big and it's got about 4 control points for the RCS. So it should be quite efficient, but I think just 4 ports, well 8 ports, all firing off at the same time might use a lot of RCS fuel on a propellant. But at the same time, the monopropellant is the same stuff as the Kerbals use to EVA. Every time they go back into a ship, they refuel their pack or their supply. If ever you're on an EVA spacewalk and you run out of RCS, well, your Kerbal's just going to implode on itself. It's weird and surprising the first time it happens. Okay, so let's get as close as possible to min-miss as we can. And we are going to be ditching this stage onto the surface of min-miss. Now I'm not going to focus view on any planets or anything, or else I'm going to have a rough time getting back. Won't be able to keep track of the ship. Okay, so we want to drop the other side of our orbit, get as close as possible as we can. Since we still have a lot of fuel in that middle stage, let's call it, or travel stage, well, we get to fight around a lot and actually line up for our maneuvers. So we already did science from this top site, which counts as a biome. If we land in another lake, let's say this one here, we'll get some different science from a different biome. So let's keep burning to drop the height. So it's at 8,000. As long as we don't hit mountains, we're okay. So at about here, I'm gonna go down here. So at about here, since I want to go somewhere specific, I'll put on a maneuver and I'll just send myself towards here. I'm not gonna worry about retrograding or anything while I do my maneuver. I'm just gonna line my ass up and do my burn to line up. So if I line up my ship with the cross before time accelerating, should already be lined up. So that's the anti-normal mark. So if I put it on, I should stay dead on. So I'm warping to the next maneuver. And now let's change our trajectory. We're a little bit early, but it doesn't matter. orbit is barely dropping since we're locked onto the anti-normal. Now we're basically over where we want to go. I can get rid of that maneuver. Now if I'd want to lift it up, I just need to go to the normal. Once I'd be at the normal, then I just burn, and it would go up the other way. So yeah. So now we could get into a retro position, and we burned off a lot of fuel out of this tank. I'm just gonna warp there. Myself in retrograde. I'm going to burn, drop this even more, and now I can start seeing where I'm going to impact, my impact point basically. So I know that that's gonna be pretty damn low once I get at that point. So if I keep slowing down and I bring that impact point down just to the edge, I know I'm pretty low, but I'm not low enough to actually hit anything at this point. So I can go back to the view here and then check my staging, because I don't want to dump these tanks, so I'm having an issue with those. So if I hadn't have checked them, I would have dumped my tanks and also my landing gears. Now, since I'm not on an orbit vector, I'll swap this manually for the surface. Now, where is the sun? The sun is out there. The way I'll land won't have that many panels exposed, so I'm gonna rotate the ship so that when I land, I have some exposed panels throughout the day, because the pattern is kind of weird on the side of the ship. Can't wait to get the extendable solar panels. That's why we need so much science. I've been trying 2 ambitious missions and I don't have the technology yet. Okay, so if we wanted, we could land down here, but we're still at 7,000 meters from the ground here. If we go to Jeb's cabin, well here. Software glitches, update before flight, don't forget. We have some maps of Kerbin. We have our altitude radar. And right now it's not tracking because we're too high, but once we get low enough, well, it might just be starting to track. But we're clearly too high. That's our, I guess, our outer altitude. Our airspeed, vertical speed, not sure. No, vertical speed is here. So that's our altitude. That's our radar altitude. So yeah, not to get the two confused, this one will give you real tracking. Let's say if you're not over the ocean, but if you're over the ocean, this one will tell you 0 when 0 is, but this one will tell you a real 0 if you're landing like in mountains or something. So yeah. And we're pulling up on the site now. Now we dropped that from 7 to 4,000 meters. We're still moving quite fast. But we're not moving straight down, so we got a lot more time to fart around and do whatever coming in this way than if we suddenly break to 0 in orbit and just let ourselves fall towards the planet, which we could totally do, but super dangerous. And usually they call that a suicide burn, because you burn at the last second. If you miscalculate or burn too late, well, you're basically dead. Burn too early, you burn too much fuel, and ultimately you end up not finishing your mission or whatever. I'm gonna start slowing down now. So we're at 2,000 meters. And we still haven't touched our lander and return stage. And we see our shadow pulling up down here. Okay, so I'm gonna try to just hold the speed and burn what fuel that is left in this engine, so that we could ditch it and switch to our other one. So now if I go back to the cabin, yeah, our radar tracking has started to track. We can actually see ourselves coming down, lining up on the nav ball. Right, so landing gears. Going to be ditching this stage. Oh, I left it on. So here we go. It's still going to be crashing into the ground. No, Tom. Sorry, my cat is right next to me. That was an impressive explosion. A shockwave and everything. So we're just gonna be putting it down real slowly. As smooth as we can. There we go. Got a little bounce out of it. Right on. So now we need to transmit or recover science. So let's see what we can do from here. So we get full experiments since we're in a different biome. Well, considered a different area slash biome. We can even get away with surface samples. I'm gonna close the doors on here. Sorry if I'm going really fast over. Nope. Oops. That's the one I wanted. Over the experiments. They're pretty much the same as the other ones in the last biome. They just keep repeating themselves. And I actually managed to get a ladder working all the way to the ground for this ship. So yeah, we're on the flat. I get to see true Minmus, which is kind of weird. But Jeb's all happy. So on Minmus, he gets to do his science stuff. Like take a surface sample for 135 science, which is really what we need. An EVA report. And plant the flag for the contract. So let's call this BM site Bravo. So this will be another possible future mining slash habitat or moon base or whatever. And now we did what we had to do. We can go back to Minmus. I retract the ladder, which I hotkeyed in my the space hangar, the action groups. Now, if we check our staging, eventually these tanks are going to run out, which are in theory, they're supposed to be the first one to go. So as soon as they're empty, we get to ditch them with these separators. Then our final stage will be exposing the heat shield and deploying the parachutes. So I'm just going to make sure that the drogues and the mains are separated. There are my drogues and there's my main, so I want the drogues to pop first. Okay, so everything is set up for the last length of our voyage, and yeah. So if we do a little experiment right now, since we're here, whoops, since the throttle is all the way in, oh, yeah, we're just gonna bounce. Since the throttle was all the way in, and I wasn't exactly onto docking when I turned on, when I turn on my RCS, they fire. So if I shut down the engine to do this experiment, and I center my throttle, then I turn them on, they're still firing off. Okay, the center is here. So now nothing's firing off, so let's say I want to take off. I need to go the other direction. And you see, the RCS are efficient enough to actually give us some lift. So if ever we'd be in a pickle to land back on Kerbin, we could actually use our RCS to return home. Now I turned them off so they won't be firing off with my throttle, since I am flying this HODAS. HODAS is a fancy word for hands-on stick and throttle. So I got a joystick and a throttle for my engines. I'm using the computer assist and pilot assist stuff. So theoretically it's not really me flying it, it's Jeb, but I'm just telling him what to do. Because if Jeb goes out, then I lose control of the ship. And if it would be a probe, if I'd lose connection like this, 0 bars, not connected, no data, and no signal, I wouldn't be able to control the probe. But now I got full crew control, so yeah. Okay, my cat wants to go outside, I think. It seems content, so I'm just gonna send this off. Oh, gotta turn the engine back off. My bad. There we go. I'm just going to tilt right away. Well, no, we needed to go the other way. I can open it up a bit. Close our gears, won't be needing them. I'm gonna floor it. Okay, my cat really wants something right now. Not sure if you guys can hear him. Right next to me, harassing me. Oh well, he's got a spot. He's happy now. This ship is wobbling. What I think is happening is probably the fuel that's sloshing around in the tank. But that would be weird because there would be no gravity to really affect it or push it around. But the weight of the fluid, I'm not sure. I'm no rocket scientist, that's for sure. I'm just a gamer. If I could quote One Punch Man, I just do this for fun. So I'm gonna burn at the top here so it actually pushes out our orbit and actually gives us an orbit. A lot of fuel to spare, so our little tiny engine won't drink that much fuel. Since we got a heat shield, we can just aero brake once we reach Kerbin. So Kerbin is back there. So we're going to burn up here. Well, a little bit more past, like here. Or else we're going to be launching ourselves outside of the orbit. And we want to launch ourselves inside of the orbit. So we're on a prograde. Now I'm just going to floor it on our vector, and it's pushing our AP out, which is ultimately going to be where we're going to be breaking off, well, on this side of the branch, let's say. And there we go. Now, the more I burn, the smaller this hole gets. So I could just keep burning. But now we're just getting tossed out. So, time accelerate till we escape min-miss. It's gravity. And we should be far enough from min-miss to keep retrograding our burn and not get pulled in again. Alright, so let's retrograde this time. Take a look at our fuel tanks. Haven't barely dented them. And I'm pretty sure this ship would be good enough for missions to the moon. The fuel efficiency we get out of this last stage. Can very well be a reusable science ship just to spam science from almost everywhere we can. Alright, so that should be low enough to aero brake, and we still got a bunch of fuel to actually deorbit ourselves. And we could actually attempt a powered landing. Try to stop with our engines. Well, try to land with our engines on Kerbin. So, okay, the electrical charge just went out the window. I'm gonna try and get us to turn a bit, which probably messed up our orbit. Yup. Now our panels are charging. So if I put those away, I just lock ourselves like that. Oh, other way. Other way. Like so. Trying to line ourselves up to expose as much panel as possible. Okay, so if I prograde, am I still exposed? Yeah. And I can rotate the ship to expose more panels. So let's just raise that up a bit because that's a little bit too steep. And we are going to be coming, yeah, pretty fast. So if we're going to fiddle around with a powered landing, we're going to get a little bit higher so we don't actually hit the atmosphere right away. We get some control out of this. And yeah, now I'm gonna go put my cat outside, so give me a second, be right back. Okay, cat has gone outside. Won't be bothering me for a while. So yeah, let's get back to Kerbin. Right, so we are pulling up on Kerbin.
Okay.
Yeah, this is taking forever, but I'm taking this time to actually try and think at what I'm about to try and do. So we got our flag on Kerbin, which is supposed to be the space center. Does it actually show? That's the thing. It doesn't show, so I have to try and locate the space center visually. So I'm pretty sure our space center is somewhere along here. Or there. Yeah, it's definitely down there. So if we could line up the ship to line up with the space center, we're gonna be at 78k, well 78,000. If I put a maneuver there and I try to change this trajectory, send it lower towards the space center, or I could be wrong. Space center. That definitely looks like it. Yeah, that's the space center. Just gonna swap this trajectory like so. Get us lined up. Whoops. Uh-oh. Was pulling us back towards our vector. So that is anti-normal. There you go. Let's warp to our next maneuver, move things along. We're gonna be attempting to land back at the space center with possibly a powered landing, but I might just kill all my fuel right here trying to change this pitch of trajectory. Just gonna get rid of that. Keep an eye on my fuel and this line. So yeah, that glowing dot I'm pretty sure is the space center. I'm going for it. Okay, so we seem pretty much lined up with it. So it would be time to retro and start slowing down. I'm just going to open it up. Hopefully we should land somewhat close to the space center. Now my orbit seems to be getting lower in trajectory than the actual space center, so I'm gonna attempt to raise it up. Or not, it was just the angle I had. Okay, let's keep retrograding. Yep, we got direct connection to space center. flying over the space center actually. Space center is up here, that little flashing light. We could actually normalize this orbit and wait for the next pass. I don't think we'll have to. Speed is dropping fast enough. And we're going to be about ready to drop these tanks. There's a space center under us. And we're about ready to get rid of these tanks. But we get rid of these tanks, we get rid of our landing gears. But we don't really need them. At this point, we have parachutes. So yeah, I'm gonna save on these tanks. Well, I'm gonna ditch these tanks and save on weight. There we go. 2 tanks are away. And we're gonna be dropping pretty steep, but it's gonna be a powered landing, so that's the whole point of it. We're directly above the space center now. We're not dropping speed fast enough. And we're out of fuel. Oh, we could have used the RCS, but yeah. Okay, so I do believe we... Okay, we're not entirely up shit creek. This ain't really all that steep. It is steep, but yeah. Couldn't achieve our powered landing, but we came close enough. Now I'm just going to time accelerate, because this is still going to take a while. And here we go. This is where we'll find out if we make it or not. And we are going to go steeply through the atmosphere. The drogues are probably going to be the only thing that saves us at this point. And this ain't good, the capsule is searching to flip on us. we've slowed down a whole bunch. There's the drugs. Jeb pulled a few nasty G's. There's the mains. And that should land us safely in the ocean, far, far away from the space center. How far away? Okay, space center's here, and we're here. There's our 2 tanks we ditched. The probe relay. Okay, 5.1 debris. And big money station. Okay, 1, which we'll need to update some better everything. Which I'm guessing with the results of this mission, we'll be able to do a lot more science. Hello Minecraft Tristan. Sorry if it takes me a while to reply. I usually don't watch the chat or keep an eye on the chat while I'm doing these things. It's a little bit hard. But okay, hopefully we get lots and lots of science with that little science bonus from our mission. So we could have either transmitted or recovered it, but now we're recovering a whole bunch at once, so I'm not sure if the bonus is just going to apply on that one that you transmit or the whole that you bring back. But most of them are complete and not partial like the transmissions would be. 491 science. Okay, this is what I wanted. Alright, so let's be smart about this. I needed the new engines, POW, and fuel tanks. I don't need the miniature stuff, yeah, POW. I still got 170 to spare. So, fly-by-wire. That really is super duper tempting, the fly-by-wire. We get some fairings and more couplers and splitters. Here we get rover parts. Here we get more science. Connecting parts and docking port junior, which is small. Where are the rest of the docking ports? They're here. It's after we get the advanced construction. Solar panels or the fly-by-wire. I'm gonna go with the fly-by-wire, because that's just gonna be a super huge bonus for my unmanned flight and also my manned flight all in general. So we have no more active contracts. Still need more science. So orbit of Minmus, position satellite specific orbit of Moon. So explore the moon. What do they want us? Walk on the surface of the moon. Okay, so we're gonna go do that one, and we're going to reuse the ship we just launched, which I had called the XO1. But hey, no, now we can actually try our big money 7. Because we got our bigger engines and bigger fuel tanks. But I'm not sure how well it's going to fare with the moon. Don't have the docking ports yet. Well, we're gonna hold off again for that one. Gonna load the XO1 that made. Now, instead of using the snow cone and the parachutes, I'm gonna put a fly-by-wire on top here and set up my parachutes around it. Let's say I put 3 of these like that, and 3 more of these, well, 3 drogues like so. Okay, the small ones. And the big ones. Alright. So yeah, that's weird. So we're gonna go spam some science off of the mid. That name. It's not the moon, it's the mid. Fucks me right up, just that U instead of the double O's. Oh, I'm gonna add some landing lights to this. Just because. I would very much like to see where I land. Let's try to center these as much as possible. And that looks about right. I only need them to see if ever I land on a dark, shadowy side. Well, I can see the ground coming up under me. Okay. So last minute mods. Now we have the fly-by-wire, we'll have a lot more stuff. Well, Jeb is a 2-star pilot. If we turn on the SAS, now we have our maneuver and our target and anti-target onto our controls, all because of the fly-by-wire. So yeah, the moon, set as target. So now I'm just going to time accelerate for it to show up. Oh, fuck, here 999, day 999, 499. Did I time accelerate 1,000 years in the future? That clearly doesn't seem right. No way I time accelerated that far. Let's see if it will sort itself out as soon as we launch the ship. No, what? Could I be at year 999? 999? Yeah, I'm just going to be launching my ass straight towards it. Could have put a bigger engine on there. Yeah, okay, fuck it. I'm reverting flight one final time, not to launch. One final time for reals, and I'm just going to try out one of these new engines we got. Instead of the skipper, let's put a mainsail. So, mainsail is slapped onto there. So let's see what it can do. I'm predicting a huge difference in performance. Yeah, we're still at year 999. That's fucked up. Probably I left the game rolling with time acceleration. Sorry, I just want to go to the tracking station because I'm all confused. Year 1, day 134. Okay, so I knew I couldn't have had go to XO1 on launchpad. And my staging is all fucked. Okay, let's see what the main cell can do. Maxed out. Here we go. And clearly we're hauling more ass. That main fuel stage is getting emptied a lot faster. I love the main cell. Main cell doesn't care, main cell just goes. I'm gonna lock on to the target. And let's go watch that orbit. Climb. Technology. Wow. I love my R&D boys right now. That's the same ship we used on our last mission. We are already moving so much faster. That's not the only engine we got. We got the twin bore, I think. Still no Rhino, but it cuts the mustard for now. Will allow us to launch the ship well, the type of ships we wanted to launch. Now, since I want docking ports to actually be able to recover the missing parts and salvage fuel and stuff, since I'm stingy, well, I'm spamming more science on this one. This time, my victim is the man. And there we go. We got a maneuver. Now I can just stick it to the maneuver and I don't need to steer or do shit. Fly-by-wires does it all on its own. And technology fun. So that means I could basically slap a probe to this, add the fly-by-wire, and any probe could make use of the fly-by-wire. So I could take a shitty probe and make a better probe that I haven't unlocked with it. Yeah, so now I'm just burning for my maneuver. Since the ship and everything tracks on its own, it's making everything so much more efficient and easy. And we're gonna get our encounter soon enough. Just going to throttle down. And we got an encounter. So here we go. Okay, so why am I time warping in this view? I need to time warp here. Then to open up the radiators. Probably should. There we go. Okay, let's do our approach for the moon. So we gotta bleed a lot more speed coming here than what we do for Minmus. Oh, and I'm not even aiming the proper vector. Okay, I'm starting to pay attention and stuff. So I'm going to drink in memory. A little boost of caffeine should do me some good. Just floor this at maximum. Oh, we're still on our travel stage. So. And here we go. So let's slow down the burn. Let's get as low as we can to the surface. Without overdoing it. I'm gonna aim for 20,000 meters. Okay, 27, so I'm gonna warp to here. We're gonna do the same. I would be tempted to land in that big crater, but I'm really uncertain of... Yeah, there's a bunch of other craters in there. I know there is some landmarks at some point, like giant arches and shit, but they're kinda hard to locate. I think it's on the top. Okay. So we're just going to pick a spot visually, I guess. I'm gonna come here. Well, time accelerate there and try and bring my other side as close as possible to 20,000 meters. So I actually get to pick a spot visually from the pilot's perspective. Either that or third person outside the ship. Now I gotta watch out because I'm dropping my other orbit if I throttle too fast. Now it's basically impossible to drop that orbit without affecting this one. Just gonna burn as quickly as I can. No, not one. one's at 38 and 15. Here's what I'm going to do. In a radial out, or no, radial in. So that way I should be moving this side up and this side should go down, theoretically. So let's see. This side is moving down, that side is moving up. So yeah, I'd have to hit this spot here. There you go. 21, 32. Okay, so now they're basically pretty much the same. Now, if we switch to visual view, these tanks are empty, but I'm keeping him on the travel stage just so we don't ditch him into space. So yeah, top there looks pretty good. Just gonna bleed off all the speed I can with this last stage. There we go. So now once I release this, they're going to crash into the mud. So fire the two tanks, fire the big tank, and now since I don't want to fire these guys, I'm gonna swap them around. I got my engine. Those two other tanks are flying off. So before we hit that crater, kill off our speed. As if we land in that crater, trying to find a flat spot is going to be somewhat messy. Still are pretty high. So where would that tip take us? Take us to the outer edge. So yeah, we will need to bleed off a bunch of speed. Okay. Oh yeah. Let's see the terrain. Flat surfaces are really lacking. There are some, but they're really hard to hit without spending all that much fuel. There's Kerbin coming up on the horizon. So we're still at 22,000 meters. And we're moving at about 400. We'll be at about 500 something meters per second once we start decelerating. Or we might need to do that way before that. But we can see the outer edge of this crater. Massive crater that we're in. $19,000. Shit. Okay, I'm going to start burning because I got a feeling that edge is going to creep up on me, so if I could land somewhere around here, that would be awesome. If I look at my impact trajectory, heading towards there now. I could actually pick my spot at this point. If I can land here, it seems like the clearest spot. I'm killing a lot of speed. There's another small crater there, so I have to clear all of that. Now my line is moving. I want this spot here in between everything. Could actually, if it's flat enough, we could actually use it as a potential spot for a base. Potential site. Okay, so we're about where we want to be. Gonna kill off the engines. Used up a lot of fuel, but we're still moving pretty fast towards the surface. So we're gonna have to do somewhat of a constant burn to try and land this without splattering ourselves all over the surface. I hate landing on this place. So much more difficult than mid-moose. Okay, I have to floor it or we're going to crash. Getting sweaty, getting nervous. Holy shit. Holy shit. Hang on, Jeb. Gonna be bumpy. Holy fuck. Ah! Hot shit. We survived. But now we lost our landing stage, and yes, this spot is pretty effed flat. Fuck. Okay, well, Jeb still has all his oxidizer monopropellant, so he's got air for a while. And all of his science, but we're not gonna be doing the science. So, now we need a rescue mission to get Jeb back. And our science back. So, which means a bigger ship. Or just a probed ship. Okay, let's go back to our space center. Jeb is stuck on the moon. Okay. So we gotta think of something fast. So I'm gonna do a new ship completely. I'm going to build off this can. And we got new fancy fuel tanks and everything. So we got a big RCS tank. Did we get the big heat shields? Probably not. No, we didn't. So coupler. I might be able to put a scientist in there and fly it with a probe. So um, three of those with where's my landing gears? Okay, so yeah. Can we create a ladder system to get them in and out? That one reaches all the way to the gear. The small one can't be placed on the gear. So I can always make these offset. Boom. I still need 3 of them. Hold on. I'm gonna put more just in case. And here I'm gonna use a trick out. Boom. Okay. That doesn't work like I thought it would. Now it does. Strange. But they're not all at the same height. So one there. And there. Seems right. Okay, for that last little bit of the ladder, we'll have that. Okay, seems about right. So, before anything else, I'm gonna get these ladders in an action group. put them on 2 because I'm gonna have some radiators. Okay, for the top, where's my structural? There it is. Well, in the fuel tanks, then yes, yes. I got this adapter tank, so I can add coupler, and this will be filled up with fuel also to feed this bottom stage. So I'm enabling the cross feed on this one. Well, even I could disable it and keep all that fuel as reserve. On the tip top of here, gonna add command and a fly-by-wire. So, yeah. Since I got my big RCS tank, I'm gonna put a bunch of these. So if I need to use RCS, I can. This is a big lander stage, but I just need an extra Kerbal to land there and fetch Jeb and bring him back. So that being said, let's retract these gears. This might be a stupid design, but just trying to make things interesting with the new parts we have. Let's put 4 chutes, 4 mains. Let's lower these for 2 seconds. Put the drogues up. Then put the mains a little bit over the drogues. Drogues are on their own. The mains are on their own, and this should be lower than everything. These engines should be on their own. Okay. So we got 340 and 7,000. Well, 700 plus 300. So we got about 1,000 something units of fuel just in that stage alone. So I can always slap on other tanks, but I'm not sure that's going to be necessary, so I'm not going to do it. What I am going to do is build a bigger travel stage. That should be our travel stage with a skipper, and we're going to mount it on an orange tank with a main cell and some kickbacks. Yeah, 2 orange tanks. Well, let's not take the... Let's use our twin board this time. Makes the ship a lot taller. Way taller. Okay, no. Just gonna go with the main cell. But the twin bore would have been a good choice. this big of a rocket. Okay, I got these guys there. Got the kickbacks. Want to put as low as possible on the couplers. Is everything out of the ground? Yeah, everything is clearing. Get some aerodynamics on there and some struts. Or space state. There we go. Seems halfway decent. So now here, since I got the fly-by-wire and the command module, I'm going to... I still need some thermals. Whoa, that's like way too much. I'm gonna put 2 of these. And I need some electricity. Make some disposable electricity. So whichever way we're aiming, we should be getting some power. 4 batteries should be enough. So for these radiators, I kept my custom action group number 1 free, so I toggled them there. Now since I got all those fancy things, I don't have no scientists, they're all in space. Can I hire one? It's courageous, but very stupid. Not courageous, not very stupid. I think they come hand in hand. They know the dangers, so they're all like, fuck that. He's halfway decent, so we're gonna go with Sand Bro. Hope you're ready, Sand Bro, cause I'm tossing you in this shit. And I don't know what to name it. Let's call it Jeb's Ride Home. Oh, caps lock's on. So now since I don't have a probe. I did not have a probe, but I have control and everything since this is, yeah, I'm gonna revert this flight 2 seconds. I just thought of something. If I want to recover the experiments from, let's say, Jeb's craft, I need a way to hold said experiment. So that just makes it way bigger. Yeah. Makes it a whole lot bigger, but can potentially allow us to bring back the experiments. That's not going to work. Way too big. What I would need... Well, hey, let's see if I can cheat this. need would be these science storage pods. Wait a second. Can I sub the parachute to these? Well, there you go. Gonna get to store science in these boxes. Not sure how much heavier it's going to make the ship, and there's actually stuff written on there. Mystery goo, test tubes, duct tape. Okay. Magnets, potatoes, paper clips. Okay, so that's pretty much sciencey bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's going on here? Once we fire this one, these three are going to fire at the same time. Don't want that. What I want now is the bottom stage. I want it before that one. So, tough. So, okay, hopefully I know what I'm doing and I didn't mess up this build, and I'll be able to rescue Jeb. If not, we're gonna kill Sandbro. So yeah. So now the moon. We need to go get Jeb. I just want to line up my orbit without going too fast and missing it and having to go for another turn. Now, I'm gonna throttle all the way up before I fire, and we're gonna see if Sandbro can pilot this with the fly-by-wire. Seems like he can. Yep, stability control and everything is there, and he's a scientist. We got an extra seat for Jeb. There goes our solid boosters, which was a pretty clean separation, and we're still pretty much gaining Delta V. Now I'm going to lock into the target vector. Our prograde vector should be scooting over to join us. Hang on, Jeb. Oscar Mike. Jeb's ride is on its way. Gonna be ditching that first stage and firing off the second. Here we go. And I might need to slap more tanks to the travel stage. But we do have a pretty large engine on there. Okay, I'm gonna start throttling down. That skipper. Let's just line up our orbit. From this point, kill the engine and set a maneuver to hopefully line up. There we go. So let's lock onto our maneuver, and in 3 minutes we have to burn for about 2 seconds of the skipper, and we still have a little bit of fuel, but our last stage here, these 3 engines are the ones that are going to be doing the rest of the work to try and get Jeb and return home. Somehow right now I'm not feeling too confident about this ship design. Okay, I'm starting my burn, and it's a 20-some second burn. God damn it. Start slowing down. There we go. We got our encounter. How much fuel do we have left? A little bit. Might be good enough to slow us down for here and not use up all our fuel. Okay. So let's start burning for retrograde. Probably not gonna have enough fuel on this engine on this stage left. Nope. So that engine is not going to be crashing into Kerbin. So okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be shutting off this tank and we're going to be flying entirely on this one. Turned on the engine, and let's see how efficient we are. Not very efficient. Okay, so I think it is safe to assume that we are going to run out of fuel on this mission. But we only had 300 in there, and we got 700 here. So with a suicide burn, I probably could manage to land a ship. But now it's all the maneuvering and shit to get to jet. So before we start doing all that, I'm just going to revert it here because I already know how this is going to end. I'm going to add some fuel tanks that I shall be piggybacking on this last stage to make sure that we can make it. Our first engines and stuff are clearly strong enough to take it. So we're gonna be hiding some panels, but as soon as we fire off the stage, the panels should be exposed. A little bit big to go there. So if we take our aerodynamics, drop some tips on the end, it should help with the drag. Now we need to link them to the rest of the other fuel tanks. And we could totally add some more down here. Which instead of 4, will most likely be stuck to add only 3. Three big ones. Okay, I'm not sure how this ship is going to react to all this new stuff slapped onto it. But hopefully this is going to give the kicker that our last stage needs. And design flaw, I'm blocking my ladder. If I put them up like so, we're crashing into these weird boxes. We're blocking the cruise cabin. If we put 4, we're still gonna be hitting the lower bottom. Still gonna be blocking the door. That's 400 units, extra units right there. These tanks are 300 each. Nope. If I were to that's still too low. The thing that I realize is these tanks, I can put them there, but I'm going to have to ditch them before I start returning to Kerbin. So that is what I am going to do. Ditch them before I land even. Yeah, I'm gonna push my luck. Since I got these things, I can get away with it. I'm gonna add another small stage with a poodle and see what that does for us. I know I'm just adding crap to this ship. I'm kind of testing also to see the limits of how far I can push it. Okay, let's save this and head for the launch pad. Alright. Oh, looks like I missed a phone call. Okay, we're gonna check our things, and while I do that, I'm just gonna call back the person that I missed a call from. And I'll get back to you guys. Okay, I'm back. So we're pretty much all lined up. We still got Sandbro in there. And let's try this once again. That's gonna fire off these two stages. Don't want that. Just want that engine. Poop. First thing. Okay, everything looks chill except for that staging there, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Fully throttle and we're off. That exhaust is just massive. Nice, I managed to turn it without losing it. And there goes our solid boosters. And we are still gaining Delta V. Okay, that stage is done. There goes our next stage. Not quite as efficient as last time because now we have all these engines to push. It's taking us longer to reach our Delta V, but we should have a lot more fuel to get into position and do everything else once we actually get there. Because I added another stage with the pool. might be what's slowing us down so much. Yeah. That poodle ain't working, so fuck that poodle. There you go. This should hopefully change things drastically. Okay. Lock, throttling all the way down. There we go. So we took off an engine with a fuel tank. Basically, I took off an entire stage that seemed unnecessary. Since we're sporting all these external tanks. There goes the solid boosters. Got some heating, and the heating's gone. Let's lock onto prograde, and going to wait till it passes over the target vector to actually lock onto the target vector. So okay, I got an extra coupler that I don't need, so these are gonna stay together. That's extra weight. Removed everything except the coupler. Now I'm going to have to remind myself to retract my panels before popping the tanks off, so they don't destroy them. There goes that entire bottom. There goes those 3 engines. So clearly it's those tanks that are emptying first, not the top part. So I want to close these off. It's basically gonna empty these and not gonna touch the rest. I'm still lacking. I think that coupler was a lot of weight for nothing. So trial and error, and yeah, this is getting oddly annoying though. Rid of that. Just put another orange tank and another freaking main cell. Let's see what this does. Ah, shit. Getting ahead of myself. I guess the fact of always frickin' having to go back to the assembly building and shit really pisses me off. Now we got a lot more fuel. That first stage might not be as efficient. Oh, we got another main cell. We could just cut out that middle stage altogether. Our solid boosters. No, where is our engine? Our engine is there. That's our coupler for it. So just want to fire it off as soon as we can. We're getting some wobble because how tall the ship is. Hopefully that last stage with just the main cell should get us through. I got an incoming call. Give me a sec.
Yo. Ça va toi? What's up? Not much. Navigating. Like. Sure, what's up?
Okay, so that second main cell is doing it. So hopefully the remainders of our engine should be doing everything. Okay, we're just about going to be reaching a spot that we want to reach. Slowing down. Oh, we ran out of fuel. So, time to ditch these 3 tanks. There they go. Our radiators weren't out. Thank God. And since we're throttled down, gonna enable crossfeed. Gonna shut off this tank, and it should be taking from the top ones. So here we go. And I'm gonna do my maneuver. Try and get my orbits to meet. There you go. Let's go for our maneuver. 4 minutes. And of course, 4-second burn. My ass. And there we go. We got our encounter. How much fuel are left in those tiny tanks? Enough. Enough. So let's warp here. Hopefully all our debris is going to crash back into Kerbin. There, get into a retrograde and blast these engines to slow down and potentially catch up to Jeb. And I'm just burning because we have to bleed off so much speed. but efficiency is still not that bad. Might be able to pull it off with a suicide burn if we don't kill too much fuel. Okay, there is our 4 tanks gone. So if I release these here, they're clearly not going to crash back into Kerbin. But I don't wanna, yeah, I'm gonna destroy him from the space center. So there they go. Because I am all about efficiency at this point. Gonna run the top tank. Once it's gone, I'll be able to ditch it. Okay, so I'm basically going to be right on top of Jeb. So now I want to land as close as possible to Jeb as I can. Without dropping any debris on him. That would be bad. Very bad. Okay, so still moving pretty fast. And our top tank still has quite a lot of fuel in it. Now I'm going to have to end this soon. So I got a friend coming over. I'm not sure how long I've been streaming this mission, but I'm about to conclude it. I'm gonna be flying right over Jeb. If I slow down at the right time, I should be landing on top of Jeb. I still got a bunch of RCS. So I just have to survive the landing, and I get to have a couple tricks up my sleeve afterwards. If I actually do survive the landing. Now, one error I did was to not include any landing lights. But Jeb's ship should be giving me a good idea of the distance. So that's another advantage of planting flags at future locations. If you got bigger ships that are harder to control or land or whatever, these flags or debris or whatever can actually use as like depth perception. It's going to time accelerate a bit. We're about 25 clicks away. So I'm gonna start burning to slow down. Okay, so wanna ditch that other stage. No, I am rushing. There goes that stage. Oh, I lost all command. Nope, nope, nope. Disaster. 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 And since the scientists can't steer. Whoa, okay. We have lost this ship. And there we go. I'm reverting that. Yeah, vehicle assembly. I'm getting too ambitious with my frickin' ship design. So yeah, I'm gonna call it quits on this live stream and guess I'll sleep on it to figure it out, but yeah. Alright, so for those of you watching, and if you enjoyed, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see the conclusion of this mission, if I get to rescue Jeb or not. So, thanks for watching, and goodbye.